I never thought I'd be the person to publicly call out a friend, but here we are. A few months ago, my friend, let's call him Jake, posted a dramatic story. His cousin supposedly had a rare illness, treatment wasn't covered, and they needed help now. He set up a GoFundMe with photos of someone in a hospital bed, tubes and monitors everywhere. It looked convincing enough to punch a hole straight through my skepticism. People were heartbroken. The link shot around our social circles in hours. Group chats pinged with, "Please share." Acquaintances posted tearful emojis, and the total ticked up like a slot machine. I wanted to believe in the good version of the internet, the one where strangers hold the line for a family they'll never meet. Jake DM'd me. Even $50 could save a life. I donated $100 and posted the link. Over the next 2 weeks, the total jumped past $18,000. Jake posted breathless updates about treatments beginning and unexpected complications. He stacked thank you posts and added screenshots of strangers' kind words. It felt like watching the internet be the best version of itself. But hairline cracks appeared. A nurse friend told me she couldn't find any record of the cousin at the hospital Jake named. Another person noticed the patient's wristband font didn't match the hospital's standard. I shrugged it off because who lies about cancer? Meanwhile, Jake showed up to game night with brand new designer sneakers and bragged about booking a Miami trip. He laughed off questions with, "Credit card points, man." Something sour lodged in my throat. I wanted to be wrong. I also wanted the story to be true because the alternative was uglier than I wanted to imagine. I remember hovering over the donate button, doing mental math about rent and groceries, and clicking anyway because the alternative, doing nothing, felt like being complicit in a tragedy. The comments under the post were a chorus of candle emojis and prayers. A former classmate wrote that her dad. I told myself to slow down. Confirmation bias is a hungry beast. Maybe Jake had a side gig. Maybe a relative fronted him the cash. Still, the timing felt too glossy. Fundraiser climbs, lifestyle glows up. Then our friend Leah bumped into Jake at a bar and asked, "How's your cousin?" He paused. "Too long. Stable. Getting better," he said, eyes sliding past hers. Leah texted me. That felt fake. The next morning, I did the annoying thing I always do. I dug. I saved every update, every caption, every photo. I ran the pictures through reverse image search. My stomach flipped. 2 shots were lifted from a 2017 medical blog post about ICU equipment. Another was a cropped stock photo used in a nursing textbook. The fundraiser's banner image even had a faint watermark someone had lazily blurred. I called Jake. No theatrics, just silence. Then he said, "Look, people want to help. I gave them a chance to feel good. I asked about the cousin's name." He dodged. I asked about hospital records. He joked, "HIPAA, bro." He wasn't panicked, he was bored. That scared me more than a confession. It meant this wasn't a one-off mistake. It was a worldview. I compiled a folder. Screenshots, EXIF data, archive links, timestamps. I messaged 2 other donors I trusted, showed them the receipts, and asked if I was losing my mind. They both wrote back variations of, "This looks bad." Within a week, Jake was posting from the hospital parking lot, hoodie up, voice low, saying they almost lost him last night and that the family was beyond grateful. He framed selfies to catch the glow of sodium lights and the sterile shape of an ambulance. The performance was meticulous, right down to the angle of the camera and the gravel in his voice. I replayed the clips until the pixels looked like snow. I tried one more time to handle it quietly. "Tell everyone the truth and refund the money," I texted. "I'll help you write the post. You can apologize and talk to GoFundMe. People might forgive you." Jake sent a voice note that still makes me nauseous. "Stop acting holy. Everyone's broke. I needed the money more than some stranger. Plus, I'm gonna pay people back when I'm up. Chill." He laughed. It sounded like a door locking. I kept thinking about donors whose names I recognized. My old teacher who wrote, "Small world praying for healing." The single mom from our gym who donated half her paycheck. an elderly neighbor who gave $50 with a note about losing her husband to the same illness. Jake had siphoned compassion out of people who could barely afford it. So I posted a thread, not rage receipts. Reverse image matches, the watermark, the suspicious timeline, excerpts of his own messages, names redacted except his. I tagged the fundraiser and used calm, lawyerly sentences. It spread like a grass fire. Friends DM'd me asking if it was real. People reported the page. GoFundMe froze the account within hours and emailed donors about an investigation. Jake called 10 minutes later. He went from pleading to screaming to bargaining in 5 minutes. Delete it. You'll ruin me. I'll refund you first. I'll tell everyone it was a misunderstanding. I said, refund everyone. He hung up. I remember hovering over my own post, rereading every sentence for fairness, and realizing that the thing I feared most wasn't backlash, it was being right. Fallout arrived like a storm front. Jake's parents messaged me begging to take the post down, saying I was pushing him over the edge. A couple of mutuals accused me of turning a private mistake into a public execution. One friend asked, "Couldn't you have handled it offline?" Maybe, but the con wasn't offline. He used the crowd. The crowd deserved the truth. Meanwhile, more evidence surfaced. A cousin, an actual cousin, DM'd me to say Jake had pulled smaller versions of this for years. Fake vet bills, rent emergencies, car repairs that mysteriously cost just $300. He wasn't unlucky, he was entrepreneurial about sympathy. GoFundMe confirmed the freeze and, later, that affected donors would be contacted regarding refunds. Some money had already left the platform to his bank. That meant people might not see a cent back. I started a spreadsheet to coordinate chargebacks and police reports. It felt absurd to become an admin for the community Jake had defrauded, but here I was, answering messages from furious grandparents and heartbroken teenagers. Jake went on the offensive. He posted a weepy video about being persecuted and claimed I doctored screenshots. He hinted at secret diagnoses and HIPAA again, which he seemed to think was a magic force field. The comments turned against him fast. Someone pulled metadata from his Miami trip photos. Dates and geotags overlapped with the fundraiser's ICU update. He was supposedly at a bedside while also captioning a beach sunset. Needed this. I watched the narrative tilt, not because I was loud, but because the receipts were. Then the real-world dominoes fell. Jake's manager called me. I hadn't tagged the company. HR had been flooded with emails. They launched their own review because some donors were coworkers who felt pressured by his team-wide Slack plea. Ours suspended him pending investigation, and security collected his laptop. He texted me, "Enjoy your little crusade." A detective left a voicemail asking for my documents. I sent a folder and the spreadsheet of donors who wanted to press charges. The detective sounded tired but focused. Online fraud isn't exotic anymore. It's Tuesday. He explained that intent, not just failed promises, was the hinge. The stolen images and timelines mattered. Meanwhile, the friend group fractured. 3 people blocked me for ruining the vibe. Leah defended me and got iced out of a group trip. At the gym, the single mom hugged me and cried into my shoulder. I felt righteous and filthy at once. This wasn't a victory. It was triage after an avoidable wound. Jake's parents posted that he was struggling with mental health. I took a breath. Both things can be true. Someone can be unwell and also responsible for harm. I stopped engaging publicly and stuck to updates, links for refunds, instructions for chargebacks, the case number. My DMs became a landfill of anger and relief. Beneath it all, a question hummed. Did I go too far by blasting him publicly instead of quietly handing it to authorities first? I remember hovering over the donate button, doing mental math, and choosing to believe. I hate that belief turned out to be the raw material he used to build a lie. Days later, GoFundMe emailed donors about disbursements and their guarantee. Some funds were returned automatically, others required forms. People forwarded me screenshots of refunds landing. Not everyone got their full amount. Fees, timings, withdrawals complicate clean endings. But seeing actual money flow back resets some faith. Jake tried contacting me through a burner account. You win. Take the post down so I can get hired somewhere. I said I'd add an update clarifying refunds and the ongoing investigation, but I wouldn't erase the record. He replied, "You'll regret this." Then he forwarded a voice memo from his mother crying. I turned off audio and sat in my kitchen, hands shaking. Justice, when it finally shows up, never feels cinematic. It feels like paperwork and nausea. My boss asked how I was holding up. I realized I hadn't slept properly in days. My messages were all triage. Here's the link. File here. Yes, the case number is. I have become the help desk for a small disaster. I wrote a final long post. Here is where refunds stand. Here is the detective's info. Please stop DMing me at 3 a.m. Please be kind to yourselves. Then I logged off for 48 hours and sat with the quiet, which sounded like a refrigerator humming and a neighbor's dog snoring through the wall. I added an FAQ to my post with plain links and bullet points so people could help themselves without waiting for me to wake up. The messages slowed from panic into routine, like a fire being contained to one wing of a building. A tiny, guilty part of me felt relief that the chaos was finally obeying lines on a page. I cleaned my apartment, changed my sheets, and tried to live like a person who hadn't been moderating a small crisis from their phone. When my boss asked again, I told the short version and he nodded like a doctor who has seen this ailment before. That night, I set all my apps to grayscale and went to bed before midnight for the first time in weeks. In the quiet, my brain did what brains do, kicked up doubt. Was I the friend who nuked another friend's life for internet points? Did my post cross some line from accountability into spectacle? I replayed that voice note. I needed the money more than some stranger, and it hardened into a thesis statement about how he thinks the world works. That helped. I also remembered the faces behind the names in my spreadsheet, the teacher, the neighbor, the single mom. They didn't sign up for a moral lesson, they signed up to help. Someone weaponized their empathy. If shining light on that is cruel, then we have the definitions backward. The detective called with an update. They were compiling statements, and Jake's bank records corroborated spending that matched the timeline designer purchases, flights, cash withdrawals. HR followed with their own outcome, termination for misconduct. None of it felt triumphant. Accountability felt like gravity, inevitable, impersonal. I walked past the hospital from the fake photos and watched real families come and go with real exhaustion on their shoulders. That settled it. I'm not sorry I told the truth. I'm sorry it had to be told at all, and I'm sorry the cost of learning was paid by people who could least afford it. So, AITA for exposing my friend's fake GoFundMe to everyone. Verdicts below, YTASNAH, and why. It's your turn now. Share your thoughts in the comments. If this story kept you listening, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.